What's going on, guys? It's Brian here with Texas Gun Experience, and we had a unique opportunity that we really wanted to share with you guys. So we had two very special guns down on the range and doing overview review videos, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to kind of show them side by side and kind of do a comparison video just so we kind of get a better understanding of what they are, how they compare, and then how they are different. So in front of me I have two 9mm 2011 platforms, and they both do the same thing as an end result, but they both get there in completely different ways. In front of me I do have the Triarc Tri-11. That is a 4.3-inch commander length double stacked 2011. And then over here I have the Staccato P model. This is also a double stacked 9mm 4.4-inch barrel. But let's get started with the front here and work our way back. Now, forgive that this does have a compensator on it, and there are links to both individual videos in the bottom description of this one, but let's pretend this compensator is not here for a minute to really give these a fair comparison. So 4.3 versus 4.4-inch barrel, kind of a moot point, so similar. Barrels are completely different. Recoil operating systems are completely different though. So the Triarc has a little bit more of a traditional bushing barrel. So what that means is you have a little thinner profile barrel. There's a locking bushing here that locks that into the front of the frame, and then a non-captive recoil spring and stainless steel recoil rod. The Staccato does have a kind of a captured recoil spring. They have a Dawson Precision recoil spring, which is toolless, which is nice. But then they also have this big, thick bull barrel. Both give you kind of superb accuracy, kind of different reasons. So, we are very accurate with the Staccato. That bull barrel has a lot of extra weight there. They have deep rifling cuts in there. So it definitely gives you positive rounds, on targets. The Triarc does a little different though. So while not as thick or as heavy as a barrel, the track system, the rifling within that barrel itself, they have an extra thick bushing on there. Between that rifling and that bushing, this thing is an absolute laser gun. Both guns, I shot strings of about 15 rounds, about 10 yards away. So not too far, but a good distance. And it looked like I only shot like 4 rounds at the target. Every single one was going through the same hole. So again, both are just laser accurate, just kind of different ways of doing it. The coating on a lot of these two, they'll do DLC coatings. The whole gun here has that DLC. Triarc does have custom Cerakote options there as well. Both are duty grade, so they're ready to run and gun and kind of go through the worst of it with you. On the front of both guns, in the front and the back, there are these slide serrations. Both are kind of aesthetically pleasing and functional. They are easy to purchase, so it makes grabbing that gun, manipulating that slide really easy. Again, whether it's you got dirt, grime, mud, water, whatever it may be, it keeps your hand from slipping off that slide. So both kind of tie in that respect. Sticking to the top of these guns here, both have a very similar sight radius, 4.3-inch barrel, 4.4-inch, and both are kind of optic ready. Now, when you get a Staccato, they do have these optic cut available models. This is a Dawson Precision plate system. So there are different plates that you can mount in this, and whether it's a Delta Point Pro, RMR, SROs, Holostone, Vortex, you name it, they have plates available for these. Triarc actually cuts these to your desire. So most of these guns are custom built to your specifications, and including the optic mount here. So this is actually a Triarc mount, which is an RMR mount, and we have that Holostone titanium 508 on there. The grips, they use almost the exact same grip module. So if you know much about 2011s, there's a lot of uniformity within that family of guns across multiple brands, and that kind of includes the grips. So while these aren't identical in both look or shape, they could swap out. They do fit each other, but let's talk about the actual differences on those. So they are both polymer grips. The polymer grips on these 2011s, they actually help absorb some of that recoil energy and are really kind of how the 2011 function. But you see the Staccato has kind of their molded stipple pattern. So it's a very aggressive texture, but it's not abrasive. So it's deep. So, again, there's a lot of channels in there. So if you're, muddy, dirt, debris, whatever, there's a lot of texture there, but it's not abrasive. The Triarc is slimmed down, and they have their custom stippling pattern on here. So while you get just as good of a purchase on here, this is actually a lot more abrasive. So if it's, rubbing against your skin, whatever, it might be a little bit more irritating. Personally, I do prefer the Triarc stipple pattern. The grip itself is shaved down a little bit, so it's not as thick of a grip. So depending on your hand size, that may matter, but that is a very tacky grip too. So it's very comfortable. It's not gonna slide out of your hands, but both work and excel really well. So moving down from the grips, you'll see here that the Staccato does come with a little bit of a flared magwell. Now these are easy to install as aftermarket options. Honestly, this one could pop onto here, but this is how they come. So no flared magwell, this one has it. This is kind of an in-betweener. It's not huge like you see some of those big bell mouth ones for competition use, but it's pretty nice for like a duty size. So those flared magwells really help speed up reloads, so you don't have to be so accurate as far as inserting the mag into the magwell. 2011 frames do have a little bit of a flare to them, but obviously adding one of these flared magwells will really help. So moving up to kind of the back side of the guns here, you can see the hammers. So the Triarc has a little bit more of a lightweight skeletonized hammer, where the Staccato's is a little heavier. We'll get into some of that stuff here in a minute, but and why they do those. But kind of continue to move on the parts here are the Safeties. So big difference between the Safeties, and that's really the first noticeable difference I noticed between the two guns, other than just how the grips themselves felt. The safety on the Staccato is easier to use. They just kind of use a little bit lighter action in there, where the Triarc's is a little thinner, a little bit heavier. They really did that intentionally because this is going to be meant for more, in their minds, real heavy duty use and concealed carry as well. But a little bit wider footprint here on the Safety, where this one's a little bit more narrow. So we kind of did a rundown of the parts, the similarities and differences of these. The important part is how do they feel when putting rounds down range. And while there's a lot of shared parts and features of these, they do feel incredibly different. But let's start with accuracy. We already kind of talked about it and covered that with the barrels. Both are absolute tack drivers and laser guns. And if you're missing the target, it's definitely not the gun's fault. But the triggers, incredibly, they measure the exact same. So both are right about 3.5 pounds. So the weight of the guns, the Tri-11 versus one of the earlier generation P models that had a steel frame, they were the exact same weight. Now the new P models do have an aluminum frame, which does lighten it up a bit, kind of giving the Staccato the favor. But up until just very recently, and when I tested these originally, they were the exact same weight. So, same accuracy, same trigger pull, same weight. What's really the difference? So, if you kind of hold the guns up and point them out and really kind of get a feel there is some balance difference between these guns. And some of it is, I think, because of the parts. So when tested, they're the same, they have the same kind of lights on them. The comp or not doesn't really matter, but the weight of the Staccato is carried a little bit more in the front of the gun, and I contribute that 100% to that bull barrel. It's not too heavy, it's not zipping the front down, but if you're really picking these things apart, you do get a little bit more perceived weight in the front of this gun. The recoil impulse, that was like the biggest thing that I really noticed, because you think, it's 2011, it's 9mm, same ammo, blah, blah, blah. They couldn't be any more further apart than what I had originally thought. So let's start with the Staccato. So shooting the gun's very soft. What I mean is there's very light recoil impulse coming back, so you don't feel as much energy coming to you. The Triarc, you definitely have, again, without the compensator kind of changes that, but without, you have a lot more energy coming back to you. Now, I'm not saying this is good or bad, and there's going to be some more reasoning to how these things function in a minute, but it is a noticeable difference. So feels like less energy, feels like more energy. Now, where this kind of changes, because you think, that sounds great, the return to battery on this. So, when you shoot a gun, bang, the slide comes back and goes forward. So when it goes forward, it's returning to battery. There is a noticeable difference on speed on these, and not just on camera, but how it feels. So this is a very fast shooting gun in the Staccato, but it feels very sluggish compared to the Triarc as far as how it returns to battery. It feels softer under that initial impulse, but this gun feels faster because it returns the battery so fast. So you can weigh those however you like. The recoil impulse on this is a little bit sharper. It's a 9mm. Don't be a punk about it. It's not a lot of recoil, but it does feel snappier. But by the time your brain registers that, it's already back in battery and you're already starting to pull the trigger again. So again, kind of a moot point. Same thing with the Staccato. It's not like it's slow by any means, but there is kind of a difference there. And part of it is on how, and we're gonna go back to the parts here, on how these recoil operations work. So Staccato does a lot lighter recoil spring on the front here compared to the Triarc has a little bit heavier recoil spring. So we have light, heavy, but then you go back to the grips, it's the opposite. So they have a really heavy hammer spring. Triarc has a lighter hammer spring. So again, kind of doing this, getting to the same end, just in a different way. So Triarc claims that they want a heavier recoil spring because it aids in reliability, and no matter what, it's going to send that slide home. Where Staccato wants you to feel a lighter recoil impulse, prompting you to pull the trigger faster, hence the term Staccato. So again, kind of two methods of madness to get to the same end. But it is a difference. So depending on your use case, one of these may fit the bill for you or not. But yeah, as far as weight goes, both are almost identical in weight, exact same trigger pulls, exact same caliber, capacity, accuracy is better than any of us as shooters. And then of course modularity. They both have the kind of full length dust rails there, so you can put lights, lasers, whatever you want. And then both are equipped with, you can put whatever optics on there you want as well. As far as aftermarket accessories goes, magwells, magazines, magazine releases, trigger shoes, all that stuff is all interchangeable, and there's plenty of options out there. So you're really not stuck with, with one route, no matter which firearm you choose here. Price point is another area where these two handguns different. The Triarc is a little bit more of a small company, hand custom built per order, while Staccato is also hand built, but they have a lot more manufacturing power behind them, where they're producing tens if not hundreds of these a day. Triarc is they're doing much less quantities of these per day. So the pricing will kind of reflect that. Most of your Staccato range is in that mid, $2,500 price range, where we're roughly about, $800 to $1,000 more for the Tri-11. The real difference comes in, there's no order form for this. This is kind of, you get what you get from the production floor. Triarc is going to be built to your order. So, barrel lengths, colors, if you want Cerakote options, triggers, hammers, if you want different widths of your safeties. So they really want to fine tune this thing and build it to your exact specifications and measurements. So there's going to be a little bit of cost added there. So kind of help you justify kind of the pricing, the performance on two very good handguns that are very much alike but couldn't be further apart. So again, this is the Triarc Tri-11 and the Staccato P. Let us know down in the comments, which one you'd rather have. If money was no option, you had to grab one of these. Let me know what you think. Is there another gun that we should compare one of these to? Is it a complete waste of time to even carry a 2011? I'll fight you if you tell me yes. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. Personally, I think these are both really great options, whether it's for duty use, concealed carry, personal protection, or if you really just want to look cool on the range. These are great guns. They shoot fast, they shoot well, they're reliable, they're comfortable. It's a really nice platform. Please give us a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. We're coming out with it all the time, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the range.